Right, Annex A5 Organizational Controls, 37 of them, which makes it the biggest theme in the whole standard by a country mile. And I know what happens when you look at that word. Organizational, it sounds like paperwork. It sounds like a document you write once, put in a folder called policies, and never open again until the auditor asks for it. It sounds like the boring bit before you get to the real security. That's wrong, and it's the most expensive wrong idea in ISO 27001. Here's the thing, Annex A5 is not the paperwork layer, it's the governance layer. It's the set of controls that decide who is allowed to do what, who you call when it all goes sideways, and how you hold your suppliers to the same bar you hold yourself. That last one, that's the one people skip, and that's the one that bites. So let me give you the shape of it, because 37 controls is a lot to swallow in one go, and I'm not going to march you through every single one like a shopping list. Each of these gets its own video later. What you need right now is the map, the clusters, what this theme is actually for. Let's start with governance and roles. A 5.1, Policies for Information Security. A 5.2, Information Security Roles and Responsibilities. A 5.3, Segregation of Duties. A 5.4, Management Responsibilities. Now, on paper, that cluster looks like the most paperworky paperwork that ever paperworked. But look at what it's actually asking. Who decides? Who is accountable? Can one person both approve a payment and make it? Can Dave, who does DevOps and also somehow does procurement and also somehow has the AWS root credentials, can Dave do all of that on his own? Because if Dave can, you don't have a control, you have a single point of failure with a laptop. Segregation of duties isn't bureaucracy. It's the recognition that the fastest way to lose a company is to give one tired person every key in the building. And I say that with love because in a 10-person SaaS startup, Dave is usually all of us. A 5.4 management responsibilities is the one founders quietly hate. It says leadership has to actually require people to apply security, not encourage, not hope, require. If your security program lives entirely in one keen person's head while the leadership team nods politely in the quarterly, you haven't got management responsibility. You've got a hobby with a spreadsheet. Next cluster, external liaison and intelligence. A 5.5, contact with authorities. A 5.6, contact with special interest groups. And a 5.7, threat intelligence, which is new in the 2022 version. Contact with authorities sounds like nothing until the day you need it. It's the difference between a breach at 2 in the morning where you already know who to call, what your regulator's notification window is, and who's got the phone number, versus a breach at 2 in the morning where you're Googling it. Guess which one goes better? And threat intelligence, a 5.7. This is one of 3 genuinely new organizational controls, and it's a proper shift. It says you should be gathering and analyzing information about threats, not vaguely, deliberately. Because you can have beautiful controls tuned for last year's attacks and be completely blind to this month's security that doesn't look outward, is just archaeology with a firewall. Third cluster, projects and assets. This one's meaty. A 5.8, information security and project management. A 5.9, inventory of information and associated assets. A 5.10, acceptable use. A 5.11, return of assets. A 5.12, classification of information. A 5.13, labeling of information. A 5.14, information transfer. Stay with me, because there's a single idea running through all of that. You cannot protect what you cannot see, and you cannot classify what you never wrote down. A 5.9, your asset inventory is the unglamorous foundation of the entire thing. Every organization I've ever heard described honestly has more systems than it thinks it has. The Shadow Trello board. The one Google sheet with all the customer emails in it. The staging database that somehow has real production data in it because someone needed to test something in 2023. And a 5.11 return of assets. That's the offboarding control. When someone leaves, do you actually get the laptop back? Do you actually kill the accounts? Or is there a former contractor out there who still technically has access to your Slack? Have a think about that one, then go and check. I'll wait. Fourth cluster, and this is where organizational stops sounding like paperwork entirely. Access control, a 5.15. Access control, a 5.16. Identity management, a 5.17. Authentication information, a 5.18. Access rights, 4 controls, 1 question. Who is allowed to do what? That's not a document. That's a decision made over and over every time someone joins, moves team, gets promoted, or leaves. Access creep is the quiet killer here. Nobody ever gets less access. People collect permissions like loyalty points, and nobody ever cashes them in. Dave started in support, moved to engineering, covered for finance for 6 weeks, and now Dave can see absolutely everything. Nobody meant that to happen. It just happened. Right, suppliers, pay attention to this bit, because this is where most small companies are genuinely exposed. 5.19 through a 5.22, Information Security and Supplier Relationships, Addressing Security within Supplier Agreements, Managing Information Security in the ICT Supply Chain, and Monitoring, Review and Change Management of Supplier Services, and then a 5.23, Information Security for Use of Cloud Services, also new in 2022. Here's the honest bit. Your security posture is not your security posture. It's your security posture plus every vendor holding your data. Your CRM, your email provider, your analytics tool, that AI transcription service someone signed up for on a company card because it saved them 20 minutes a week. You can have a beautiful ISMS and still be one supplier's bad Tuesday away from a very awkward customer email. The bar you set for yourself is meaningless if you hand your data to someone with no bar at all. And that's what these controls are for. Not to generate a supplier questionnaire nobody looks at, to make you ask before you sign, what happens to our data here, and what happens when this goes wrong. Then to keep asking, because a 522 is explicitly about monitoring and change. Suppliers change, their sub-processors change. Your due diligence from 18 months ago is a photograph, not a relationship. Next, it's and continuity, a 524 through a 528. Incident management planning and preparation, assessment and decision on information security events, response to incidents, learning from incidents, and collection of evidence. A 529. Information security during disruption, and a 530. ICT readiness for business continuity, which is the third new one in 2022. Learning from incidents, a 527, is the one everybody claims to do. Everybody does a post-mortem. Almost nobody changes anything as a result. If your incident reviews produce sympathy rather than a changed control, you're doing therapy, not security. And collection of evidence, a 528, is the control you'll wish you'd implemented at the exact moment you need it and can't. Logs get rotated, someone reboots the box to make it work again. The evidence walks out the door while you're still in the incident. Last cluster, legal and compliance. A 531, legal, statutory, regulatory, and contractual requirements. A 532, intellectual property rights. A 533, protection of records. A 534, privacy and protection of personally identifiable information. A 535, independent review of information security. A 536, compliance with policies, rules, and standards. And at a 537, documented operating procedures. A 535 is the interesting one, independent review. Someone who isn't you checking whether the thing you built actually works. Because we all mark our own homework generously. That's not a character flaw. That's just being human and busy and quite fond of the thing we built. So, 3 new organizational controls in the 2022 version: threat intelligence, cloud services, and ICT readiness for business continuity. Notice what they have in common. They all point outward. Outward at the threat landscape, outward at your vendors, outward at your ability to keep running when the systems you don't own fall over. The standard grew up. It noticed that most of your risk now lives outside your building. And that's the whole point of Annex A5. It is not the paperwork theme, it's the theme where you decide who holds power inside your organization and what standard you enforce on everyone you depend on. So here's your dare. Go and pull your list of suppliers. All of them, not the tidy ones, every tool with your data in it. Pick the 3 you'd be most sorry to lose control of, and find out what security commitments you actually have in writing from them. Not what their marketing page says. What's in the contract? If you can't find it within an hour, you don't have a supplier bar. You have a supplier hope. Go and check.